Hey, in order to fall asleep, you have to pretend to be asleep. Have a good day.
So just get that to me when you get a chance. How you feeling after your shot?
I mean, pretty good. Just a little sluggish. I feel like there's a lot of mucus. I mean, I don't
Thanks.
know.
I really needed to know that.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not checking my phone in my camera. I'm actually making sure I don't have a bat in the cave.
So he says, here are my thoughts to wrap this up. We start working together. This will give us time to figure out the plan with a goal of content. Yeah, so like we're starting today, and so we've got a month to get his content, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
We have a month to get his content built up to start posting 7-1. And he's like, I recorded Insurance Count podcast today, so I have another hour worth of content to cut, edit. For now, during that time, at game time, insert Scott clapping over his right shoulder here. So it's cool. I'm excited about that. I feel like he gets it, and I feel like what he's wanting is exactly what we can do. There's a couple things on this on our call I'm going to have clarified today. I'm going to have you, I want you on the call, like kind of how we do with Mark. I want to undersell this process as much as possible, because I want you to be pleasantly surprised on 7-1. But I really want to stress, and I know we've talked about this, and I know you know this is a process. Where we're going to be 12 months from now is going to be drastically different than where we are today. Where we're going to be 3 months from now is drastically different from where we'll be on 7-1. It's something we work out. Your first batch of content, and that's why I said if you can start sending stuff to us today, because I want to get that edited to some degree by at least the end of next week, and we can do another call next week and I can kind of show it to you. But for example, one of our clients has been on, I think, 3 months. Kind of went with the first couple batches of content, and then I went and told him last week, I was like, hey, let's revamp it. So we're constantly improving, we're constantly doing different iterations. If you look at my content from a year ago, it looks completely different than now, unless it's something that I've reposted. So it's a process. It's something we're building the muscle. The muscle's we're not taking steroids. Another thing too, I was talking to a carrier, I had a carrier rep in here the other day. That's very much old school and admitted that, and in her own words has a hard time getting used to technology, and is all about the relationship, air quotes. And an example I gave her was, technology doesn't replace the relationship, it enhances it, and I think Arias is one of those. Using the external data piece, we're able to go in and see things that our customer is interested in, and either A, use those to sell more insurance if they're a collector of something, or B, if they smoke cigars, and we can have a conversation with them about cigars and further that relationship and deepen it. And that's something that's a perfect textbook example of technology enhancing a relationship, not replacing it.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Oh well. Okay. We'll try later. I gotta go to a dentist appointment. You guys want to go with me?
One theory I have, and I've said this on the podcast before, but it's been a while. One theory I have as far as how people pick up clients. Back in the day, 50s, 60s, 70s, the way you bought insurance, or one of the ways you bought insurance that I think was pretty prominent, was you went to your neighbor or you went to your friend and said, hey, where do you have your insurance at? And they would hook you up with their insurance guy or gal, right? That was kind of how a lot of stuff went. Well, then, 80s, 90s, 2000s, with all this new advertising and billboards and radio and TV and newspaper and yellow pages and all that stuff, things kind of moved away from that. And you were not only looking for your own insurance person or your own whatever person, but you were bombarded with ads 24/7 and branding and things like that. And with social media, it's kind of gone back to a little bit more word of mouth, where people will post on Facebook, hey, who's good for auto insurance, and you have 5,200 insurance agents reply. Have you kind of seen a little bit of that? Both you and Scott, what's y'all's take on that?
Yeah, I think I will always say I am very big in networking. I think networking is important. I think networking works. People have to like you to do business with you, and they can't like you if you don't get to know them. So I think between networking and, of course, social media does work. I think social media works better when you have other people refer you in a Facebook ask other than yourself referring yourself. So we get a lot of business that way just by people referring us off Facebook.
I think Facebook can work without networking. Let's just take Facebook and networking.
Sure.
I think Facebook can work without networking. I think networking can work without Facebook, but I think it's when you marry those two together, that's when it's really killer, because you go to the networking event and they're like, oh, I've seen you online. Or you go and you do a Facebook ad or a Facebook post and they recognize the post because they saw you at the event. Or you take the daggum, email list from the event and you target those. I think marrying those two together, take out Facebook, insert blank, like whatever you want to do. I think people always, and Scott probably gets this too, and I'm sure CJ does as well, and you do too, like agents will reach out to us and I can tell they're looking for that one little silver bullet. They're looking for that one thing that makes you successful, or what they consider successful. And it's not that. It's a lot of little bitty things, because probably if you just did networking, yeah, you'd do okay, but marrying it with these other things are really, really good. And it does really well. And it's kind of my gripe. I tweeted about this week. And I'd love to get your thought on this too, Tina. It's kind of my gripe with InsurTech. It's like, a lot of these InsurTech companies, many of whom I'm friends with, it's really good messaging. It's really good UI and UX, user interface, user experience. But then on the back end, they operate exactly like a really bad insurance company, a really antiquated insurance company. And by back end, I mean the way the agents deal with them, the download, the getting the policies, endorsements, all the way down to claims. When at the end of the day, like, that stuff matters too. Like, you have to marry those two things together. You can't just have really slick technology, but then be terrible on claims or super difficult to get in touch with on claims. You have to take both of those things and you have to do both of them really well.